All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the June Insiders. We have a lot to cover today, so we're going to get started. Um, Before we dive in, there is a poll that I launched that is asking, what's realistic for you for how you're going to resell MDR to your clients. As we go, of course, we want to make sure that you guys are asking questions and, especially on MDR as we start to cover it and things like that. And as usual, I'll make sure that once the recording is ready, I send it to you guys either late today or early tomorrow. Um, that's some housekeeping that we're done with. So today's agenda is um, we're going to talk about where we'll be at events. We're going to talk about the just launched HTTP ingest. We're going to talk a little bit about CMMC. And then we're going to talk about Blumira Managed and Sell With Data. And there'll be a little bit of time for a roundtable Q&A. So I'm going to kick it off to Cass to talk about where we'll be this summer.
All right, thanks, Julie. So coming up next week, actually, we are going to be at both Flow, which is put on by Roost. That one is in Nashville, and we're also going to have a couple people at the Cyber Fox Secure IT event in Tampa. After that, we will be at Exchange in Fresco, and then GTIA ChannelCon, August 3rd through the 5th. I have special private dinners and private parties that we're putting on at almost all of these events. So if you are going to be there and you would like an invite, please reach out to me.
Awesome. Okay. And so Chris is going to talk about HTTP ingest.
Hey, yeah. Kind of a big thing that we have launched. I think we launched this last week. Very, very new. So for a number of years, Blumira has allowed you to ingest logs from, of course, named API sources, things like that. We've also allowed you to ingest logs from syslog by using a Blumira sensor. But we know that there's a lot of cases where there's other types of logs that we can get that don't need syslog and don't need an API connection. So HTTP ingest is kind of the next generation of us being able to just receive logs from many different sources. The first thing this enables is I would say probably 1,000 applications or more that can ship logs over HEC or HTTP log. So you might see in a lot of cases that somebody may say that they can ship logs over HEC, or some people say they have a Splunk integration. In most cases, that means that that tool can ship logs over HEC, which would be just HTTP ingest. The other thing that you can do there is throw webhook alerts or logs through the HTTP ingest product. As we have launched a number of named integrations in there. We also have launched just a universal catch anything HTTP ingest. So you'll find that in the product now. As it says, this is a new way that we're enabling you to, ingest things. There's no additional cost here. Um, there's no per gig meter as always, because you're with Blumira, we don't charge per gig. So some of the named integrations that we have in there right now, Bitwarden, Cloudflare, DNS Filter, GitHub Enterprise, Keeper, KnowBe4, and that's both the KnowBe4 core SAT product as well as KnowBe4 Fisher. We did have a KnowBe4 Fisher API-based integration before. It was really clunky and had to go through the sensor, so this is a much better way to get those logs. LastPass, and ping identity. So those are the named integrations, but you can also send JSON or raw webhook or HEC logs over HTTP ingest. You're not limited to just those named integrations. Those named integrations we have parsers for, of course, but we want to kind of hit a lot more parsers. We just need to see some sample logs and see what people are going to use this for. Again, it's there now. You can use it. Even if you ship logs that are not parsed, as always, unparsed logs are still available to you in the product. Question from Steve: how is HTTP ingest secured? So there is it's not HTTP, it's HTTPS. Those are still shipped, encrypted in transit. So you should see when you set those up, and when you set things up with your vendor, you're going to set up whatever their configurations are for sending that encrypted. But yeah, that is a encrypted in transit um, thing. And then of course when the logs get to us, encrypted at rest, the same as logs are generally with Blumira, it all goes in the same place. So any other questions on that? Obviously, reach out. Um, yeah, so Steve, that's a good question in terms of like poisoning. I am not 100% sure. I believe that um, there's there's a token in what we give you. So unless somebody had that token, it's not just an open endpoint where anybody can just throw things at it. You have to have that token. So unless somebody has that token, they're not going to just spray things at that endpoint anyway. So I think that would address it, that nobody's going to be able to just poison those logs by sending a bunch of stuff as long as you protect that token that you um, are provided there. So. Okay, cool. Yeah, any other questions on HTTP ingest? Obviously, reach out blumira.com. Your CAM or your CSM is probably reaching out to you, letting you know that this is launched. We have stuff in our KB about how to use it. If you have suggestions on HTTP ingest or anything else, blumira.com/ideas, great way to throw things in there. Maybe we'll hit ideas at the end of this webinar today just to kind of go through what's in there too. Cool. Next thing, just kind of an update on CMMC. We've had a lot of MSPs that are showing interest in kind of getting their CMMC practice up and running to serve their customers. I'd say more than once a month now, we have an MSP or a customer that's using Blumira to go through a CMMC assessment. So as with before, Blumira has a CMMC resource package that we can send to our customers that are looking to use it. That's an NDA type thing, so I'm not going to just throw it out there on the web, but if you ask for it, I'll give it to you and explain to you how to use it. We've had very good success so far with CMMC. The questions from assessors have been very minor, very routine, just asking for clarification on things. In most cases, the assessments happen with nothing coming to me whatsoever. The documentation that we provide has been more than sufficient to get people through their assessments. So, been pretty straightforward. Keep in mind, trying to serve your customers well and sell them the services they need. It's going to be much more difficult to get contracts after November of this year unless your customers have that CMMC certificate. So, something to just keep talking to your customers about if they plan to get new contracts. Planning ahead to get this stuff, not waiting to the last minute. Right now, the timeline really looks like um, assessors are 6 months out scheduling assessments, probably more like 7 now. And this is not a 3 or 4 or 5 week project to get ready. This is probably a 6 month project for you or your customer to get ready for CMMC. So it's not something you can do at the last minute. Help your customers plan ahead on that stuff. Um, let's go back to that slide just for a second here. I was going to hit on something here. Um, go back. Huh. Doesn't want to go back.
Yeah, hang on.
Okay. Maybe just the back button.
There's a little button in my way. Hang on.
Does left arrow work?
No, left arrow doesn't work.
Just grab that pencil and just pick it up, and you can move it out of the way.
Yeah, it keeps moving back. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
I got
huh.
it.
All right. Okay.
There you
CMC.
go.
Okay. So the other thing that's in here too that I'd say this is not necessarily just insurers or is it not CMC but insurers as well. N- this is kind of not so the thing with with cyber insurance is that we're seeing a lot more cyber insurers ask for CM or ask for SIM, and that's, just of course just people that have just cyber insurance on their own. But I've also seen a few cyber insurers now asking, um, are you supposed to be CMC level 2 certified? And are you? We saw this before with PCI. We're going to see more of this with CMC as well. So again, like sometimes the teeth is in the insurance. So talking to your customers about, if they plan to be CMC and making sure they're not skirting the rules. It's a lot harder to skirt the rules with CMC than it is with PCI. But thinking about, those cyber cyber insurance renewals, you see kind of a batch of them happening in July of this year. You also see a huge batch of cyber liability insurance renewals happening in December and January. So thinking ahead to the summer when you might be a little bit less busy, try and get your customers in a better situation. So if they have those winter renewals, you're not scrambling to do it at the last minute. So that was my thing there. And this is me again. So um, I've probably gone in this webinar in the past and argued about how Blumira Managed is not feasible. And by Blumira Managed, I mean some sort of actual managed SOC service that layers on top of Blumira. So I'll go up and say that in the past, I probably said this is not something that we can do. Times have changed. We have a lot of newer tools now that we can use to more effectively surface actual threats while suppressing alerts that are false positives. Kindling is a big part of what's going to enable Blumira to be able to offer a Blumira managed product. So this is something that we're working on. We're going to be piloting this with a few MSPs here in the very near future, likely this month. But what Blumira Managed is going to be the actual humans that you're wanting to watch Blumira for you. Now, this is still going to be a partnership with you as the MSP. We're not necessarily going to say, all right, security is all our job now. It's not up to you. This is still going to be a partnership with you. Our onboarding process is probably going to be pretty. I'm not going to say it's going to be intense. We're going to make sure we very clearly understand who does what, who's responsible for what, and that's both making sure you understand what we're going to do, and we understand what you're doing and whose role falls where. So we're going to establish a responsibility matrix, making sure that everybody has the best understanding there. Let's back up for a second here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. What we're going to, be able to do here is not just like, chirp you and say, hey, like things are like going on. But we're going to obviously be requiring that if you want to, have customers in Blumira managed, that you're using all the tools that Blumira offers. So that's, you know, our ITDR functionality. That's using our Blumira agent in its EDR functionality. Using our automated blacklist functionality on our firewall integrations. So, ensuring that Blumira not only has the ability to like, hey, tell you things are going on, but if we see serious stuff going on, ensuring that the tools that are available can be used to stop threats before, we wake somebody up or, what have you. So, Blumira Managed is going to include all the best parts of Blumira in terms of the base product, as well as that additional layer of people to watch these alerts and take, quick action if that action is needed. Okay. And then, I mentioned the responsibility matrix, making sure that we've established, who's responsible where, and of course there's, what we never do. There's some things in here that I think that because of the other layers of things we have available, there's not a need for us to do things like delete files and wipe disks. We can cut, things off so effectively that, A, that's not going to be really necessary, and B, that's just too extreme for an outsourced SOC to really be able to take that level of responsibility for that kind of stuff. So, um, yeah, let's hop up here. So, yeah, we're going to be, this is obviously not going to be a free service. There's going to be, as kind of implied by the poll we launched up front here. This is going to be something that's going to be a layer on top of the Blumira service we offer today. But um, we think that MSPs are going to see the value in being able to have, that Blumira expert, watching these alerts and potentially taking action to stop these threats. So,
Chris, just a little bit of context. I have conversations with partners every day. Chris mentioned sort of on the technical side how Blumira Managed is facilitated through our use of Kindling. I think we want to emphasize also the feedback side. Partners are regularly asking us for this service. It was a big factor in deciding to move forward with it. And so like we hear you, we understand what you want, and we ideally are delivering the service that you're looking for in this partnership.
Cool. Yeah, obviously, if anybody has questions about Manage, throw them in chat or in the Q&A. Reach out to us, mspblumira.com. We'll also talk about in a minute here about the pilot program for managed.
Great. Thanks, Chris. Before we jump into the pilot for MDR and look for interest, one thing we've been discussing internally that's come up is, and we hear from partners is how do I sell more security services? And so one of the things that we've been kicking around internally, and the plan would be to develop a little bit more collateral here to enable partners to do this, but is using the automate trial and the combination of Kindling to showcase to potentially new clients or existing clients who aren't currently adopting your security services exactly what you could potentially deliver to them and the visibility and support that you could provide them from a security perspective by leveraging those two things together. So really, the hypothesis here is step one, where you have an existing customer not currently leveraging your security services powered by Blumira, or you have a potential new client that you're trying to bring into your book of business, is leverage the automate trial. It's good for, it has a 37-day window on it, with the premise being that you would be able to collect 30 days of data from that customer, right? So will they give you, some primary sources, a few things that you could collect. Obviously, the more sources, the better. But that 30-day window would give you and Blumira enough data to build a baseline of scores findings, grouping cases, and show them exactly, that visibility and protection that you could provide with a service. That generates a value report to where you can then go to that customer, sit down, talk about your services, use that data and use those findings to ideally get them to sign on to whatever package it is that you're then backing with Blumira, and then convert that into either a respond license, a respond core automate, or soon to be our MDR offering. So I wanted to put that out there as a path that to make partners aware of. So understand that you do have access to that automate trial attached to your NFR. It's there for that purpose, and coupling that with the visibility and the value reporting that you can get out of Kindling. A 30-day window should be in most cases enough to give you a good baseline to leverage to go and demonstrate exactly what it is that you're able to provide powered by Blumira. So again, more to come on that, but we figured we'd take a few minutes today to throw that out there. And again, if this is something that you're interested in learning more about, reach out to your account manager or your customer success team, and we'd be happy to walk you through how we think this lays out.
Andy asked a question.
Well, I did ask it. I did ask it internally, but I think that if you're in the tiered MSP programs or the legacy program, you may not automatically have access to the automate trial, but you can come to me and I can help with that.
That's why I put you on the spot.
That is.
So yeah, if you want to be a part of our MDR pilot, please drop your, name or say MDR in the chat, and we'll make sure that you get the form and that you're a part of it.
Can we, is that our last slide there? Oh, okay. I wanted to go to the ideas before we wrapped up here.
Yeah.
Can you pop up just blumira.com/ideas for a second, please?
Mm-hmm.
I want to just, I was mentioning about HTTP ingest, and I wanted to just kind of talk about, make sure everybody knows like where we can get ideas from them, where we work out of to get that kind of stuff. So, okay. Beat it product board. Okay. So, as you can see in here, we have HTTP-based data ingestion as of this quarter project here. This ideas portal is always a great place to go to let us know what you're looking for. This stuff gets very seriously considered by our product team. If you go to the under consideration tab, Julie, you can kind of see, things that we're thinking about doing. The really helpful thing is here is you can click on anything in here, and then you can submit, you can vote on things, say what's nice to have in there. You can put notes on these things to say like, hey, like, I want this for this reason. This is how I would use this, that kind of stuff. So, really helpful for us to get this kind of feedback from you. I think sometimes, people say they want us to do more, but they don't always know how to like kind of categorize some of those features. So we're kind of trying to distill in a lot of what people say they want into some of these tiles in here for you to, vote on and comment on. So this is a great place to, of course, like, talk, you'll see what we're working on, put notes in these things, but up in the upper right-hand corner, you can submit an idea. So whatever you don't see in here you're looking for, like just, shoot these ideas over to us. I mean it when I say this is treated really like seriously by us and our product team to figure out, where to take Blumira next. So please, send things into the ideas portal. Maybe this fall I'll have a competition to see who can send me the most meaningful ideas or something. But we'd love to see people use this portal. So that's all I was going to say there is
Something to be aware of just in terms of how you like internalize what you see here. So Chris is on, or Julie's on the under consideration tab right now. I feel that slightly underrepresents the like how far along those things are. So if we go back to under consideration, Julie, like this says active discovery up next. These are things that our team is working on right now. These aren't under consideration. These are in progress. And then below that, ideas and review. These are things that we are likely committed to deliver, but might not, like, are in various states of like work progress, like how done they are. So there may be an update to how we present this data in the future. But understand that the under consideration tab, this is stuff that is likely going to be released.
I will include this in the recap email also so that we get more meaningful responses. So yeah, really quickly, basically as you can see, we're building stuff and a lot of things are shipping out. Um, there's some seriously big stuff coming in July, and we're working on pulling even more data into the platform and expanding how you use it way beyond, threat detection and response. And, stay tuned. We'll definitely talk more about what's coming in the July Insiders. And then, if anyone has any questions, please throw them in the chat. We will make sure to answer them. And then quick little resource stuff. Obviously, if anyone has any questions that I can help with on the marketing side, you can email me. I am super grateful to Chris and Greg and Andy because otherwise we almost had a Julie Freestyles Insiders and it would have definitely been a one-woman show of Hamilton. So we did not have to do that. But in any case, thank you all. We can give you some time back to your day. Thanks for participating in the poll and everything there. So, yeah, I hope everyone has a great Wednesday, and I'll share this as soon as it's ready.
Thanks everyone. Thanks for showing up today.